Good evening, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to give a lecture in the international program by IKEA Sustainably, Kenya, Africa, and Poetic Bangladesh. I am Dr. Sanghamitra Addo, Associate Professor in Geography, Kollani Mahavidyalaya, India. Today, my topic is Inclusive Growth through Women Empowerment in India. The path to women empowerment and gender equality in India is a journey of resilience, struggle, and hope. I am going to explain various aspects of women empowerment and gender equality in India, highlighting women's empowerment programs in India, the progress made, the obstacles that remained, and the steps needed to build a gender equal India. Women empowerment broadly refers to the process by which women gain power and control over their own lives and acquire the ability to make strategic choices. It involves a sense of self worth among women, along with their ability to determine their own choices, and it involves promoting a sense of self worth among women along with their ability to determine their own choices and their right to influence social change for themselves and others. The Women Empowerment Principles were launched on 9th March 2010 in celebration of International Women's Day at a day-long conference in New York or for business, civil society, government, academia, and the United Nations to explore the application of the principles in various contexts. The principles include establishment of high-level corporate leadership for gender equality to treat all women and men fairly at work, respect and support human rights and non discrimination, the health, safety, and well being of all women and men workers to promote education, training, and professional development for women, implementation of enterprise through community initiatives and advocacy, measurement and publicly report on progress to achieve gender equality. Women are equally competent, intelligent, and talented as men. They are underemployed and unemployed. The need of economic benefit, reduction in domestic violence, and corruption all are important. The overall development of society and national development depend on women empowerment. The concept of women empowerment and gender equality are interrelated and intertwined to each other. Promotion of gender equality is the first and foremost prerequisite for women empowerment. Recognizing the importance of achieving gender equality and women empowerment, UN Sustainable Development Goals like SDG 5 especially important regarding this matter. SDG 5 aims to achieve gender equality by ending all forms of discrimination, violence, and any harmful practices against women and girls in the public and private spheres. The status of women empowerment in India, particularly in rural areas, needs to address the issue of empowering women. About 66% of the female population in rural area is unutilized. This is mainly due to the existing social customs in agriculture and in animal care. The women contribute 90% of the total workforce. Women constitute almost half of the population, perform nearly two-thirds of its work hours, receive one-tenth of the world's income, and own less than 100 of the world property. About 70% of people living in poverty are women. Lower sex ratio like 945 in 2021. The existing studies show that The women are relatively less healthy than men, though belong to same class. They constitute less than one-seventh of the administrative posts in developing countries. Only 10% seats in World Parliament and 6% national cabinet are held by women. Empowerment is the process of increasing the capacity of individuals or groups to make choices and to transform those choices into desired action and outcomes. Women empowerment means emancipation of women from the vicious circle of social, economic, political, caste, and gender based discrimination. It means granting women the freedom to make life choices. The study reveals that the women in India are relatively disempowered and they enjoy somewhat lower status than that of men, in spite of many efforts undertaken by the government. Gender gap exists regarding access to education and employment. Household decision making power and freedom of movement of women vary considerably with their age, education, and employment status. As per 2021 census, India's population was 140.76 crore and the female constituted 48.4% of it. The female literacy rate at all India level was 70.30%. The right to education is a fundamental right, and UNESCO aimed at education for all by 2015. India, along with Arab states and sub-Saharan Africa, has a literacy level below the threshold level of 75%, but efforts are ongoing to achieve that level. Women empowerment can be done through changes in women mobility and social interaction, changes in women's labor patterns, changes in women's access to and control their resources, changes in women's control over decision making, providing education, self employment, and self help groups. India has grown from leaps and bounds since independence where education is concerned. While 82.14% of adult men are educated, only 65.46% of adult women are known to be literate in India. The gender bias is in higher education, specialized professional training, which hit women very hard in employment and attaining top leadership in any field. As per NFHS 5 during 2019-21, the literacy rate in females is 70.3% as compared to about 84.7% for men. Educated girls are more likely to marry later, have healthier children, and send their own children to school. Thus, education and women empowerment has a strong link. Article 45 directs to state to provide early childhood care and education for all children, including female children, until they reach the age of 6 years. Poverty is considered to be the greatest threat to peace in the world, and eradication of poverty should be a national goal as important as the eradication of literacy. Due to this, women are exploited as domestic helps. Health and safety concerns of women are paramount for the well being of a country and are an important factor in gauging the empowerment of women in a country. There are alarming concerns where maternal health care is concerned. Gender equality can manifest at work via unequal pay and disparity in promotions. These inequalities can influence the way men who largely hold corporate power view female workers. Professional inequalities practiced in employment and promotions. Women face countless handicaps in male customized and dominated environments in government offices and private enterprises. Due to gender bias in health and nutrition, there is unusually high mortality rate in women, reducing their population further, especially in Asia and Africa. Household relations show gender bias in small but significant manners all across the globe. In India, like sharing burden of housework, children care, and works by so-called division of work. While strong legal frameworks exist for promoting gender equality and women's empowerment in India, their effective implementation remains a challenge due to weak enforcement mechanism and social attitudes. Violence against women in India refers to physical or sexual violence committed against a woman, typically by a man. Common forms of India include acts such as domestic abuse, sexual assault, and murder. There are several forms of violence against women like dowry deaths, honor killing, female infanticide, sexual crimes, modestly related to human trafficking, forced prostitution, domestic violence, acid throwing, etc. Indian Penal Code or IPC contains various sections addressing crimes against women, including rape, sexual harassment, dowry, death, and acid attack. Like Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 provides a civil remedy for victims of domestic violence and empowers them to seek protection order and residence rights. Dowry Prohibition Act 1961 prohibits the giving or taking of dowry and prescribes punishment for violations. In India, official figures show that women's workforce participation rate is 23.5% compared to a much higher rate for men at 57.5% in 2022 according to Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation 2022. Interestingly, only one-fourth of the women are salaried or wage workers, while the rest are self-employed. Indian women, despite constituting 48% of the population, contribute only 18% of the gross domestic product or GDP. Representation of the People Act 1950 guarantees women right to vote and contest election on an equal footing with men. Delimitation Commission Act 2002 mandates consideration of the number of women voters while determining constituencies, potentially increasing their electoral potential. It is not only related to right to vote but simultaneously relates to the participation in decision making process, political activism, political consciousness, etc. Women in India participate in voting, run for public offices and political parties at lower levels more than men. The concepts of women empowerment and gender equality are interrelated and intertwined to each other. Promotion of gender equality is the first and foremost prerequisite for empowerment of women. The Gender Equality Index or GII 2022 has been released by United Nations Development Programme in their Human Development Report 2023-24. In GII, India stands at rank 108th out of 193 countries with a score of 0.437. The government has launched several programs for promoting gender equality and women empowerment in India. Major women empowerment programs in India are Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme, One Stop Center scheme, Women Helpline scheme, Ujjwala, a comprehensive scheme for preventing trafficking and rescue, rehabilitation and reintegration of victims of trafficking and commercial sexual exploitation, working women hostel maternity benefit program, Rajiv Gandhi National Care Scheme for the children of women mothers, and many more. There are several government programs and NGOs in the country, but still there is a wide gap exists between those under protection and those not. Poverty and illiteracy add to these complications. The empowerment of women begins with a guarantee of their health and safety. Empowerment of women could be achieved if their economic and social are improved. This could be possibly only by adopting definite social and economic policies with a view of total development of women and to make them realize that they have the potential to be strong human beings. In order to create a sustainable world, we should begin to empower women. As per the United Nations, women gender equality refers to the equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities of women and men, and girls and boys. Gender equality does not mean that women and men will become the same. Rather, it seeks to do away with gender inequality and stipulating that the rights, responsibility, and opportunities for men and women will not depend on their gender. It can be achieved through education. Gender equality is considered as both a human rights issue and a precondition for and indicator of sustainable people centered development. Thank you.